Hey everybody, Eric from We Really Don't Know What We're Doing RC is back with the RC project. Where I left off is a mess of electronics, and that mess of electronics is going to be wired into the cab. Now you can see I put a 3/8 hole into the bottom of the bed, and I don't know if you can see it, but this is there's a shelf in here where I'm gonna probably rest the electronics. I was thinking about making a mounting plate, but I don't know if that's necessary. My concern also was air circulation in the cab, and what I did was I went to work and already right off the bat, the lid, the cover to the top of the cab already had this mesh screen for air, which isn't bad. And now that I've had this 3/8 hole on the bottom, air can get in, obviously. A bunch of wires will be going through there, but... and I also added these 1/8" slots. They're probably around 3 inches long, but there should be a lot of air being able to go in and out of this cover. Second, my concern was the truck was sagging in the front. So what I did was I actually made up some new shock towers. Well, the mounts anyway. And you can see, if you can see the through holes, that's the hole position. These two holes mount to the ladder rail, and the shock mounts to this top boss. So I compensated the difference where I think it should have been to where it's actually sitting. And you can see there's a pretty big hole difference from the mounting holes to the ladder rail to the mounting holes of the shock. I mean, there's a solid, I'd say a 3/8 inch. I don't remember off the top of my head now. This is a machine piece. It is metal, it's not plastic. And there's a boss here that's threaded. So it gives you, probably like 3/16 of an inch of threads that you can go through, an M3 thread. So what I used is a piece of hardware and tack welded it to mimic the boss. It's black, and I know it's dark in here, so you probably can't see it. So anyway, I'm going to mount these today. I'll attach the door after I get the electronics in. And I received crazy glue galore, so I can attach the ladder frame. Well, it's not really a ladder frame. It is the ladder frame to the bed. This together, and then that will be all set. And then I think the project, I said I was going to get lights. We'll still see on that. Yeah, and that's where we're at. And let me cut out and come back in, and it should be all together. Okay, hold on, guys. Okay, just installed the shock mounts, the shock tower mounts, and there's a pretty big difference. Now the height here should be the same from here to the ground, then here to the ground. And I have a trusty tape measure here. So right now we're measuring 3 and a hair under 7/8. And here we're reading, geez, a hair under 3 and 7/8. So right now we are even all the way across, which is what I wanted. Before, as I mentioned, it was dipped down like 10 millimeters or 3/8 of an inch, and that's what I made the difference between the two brackets. But don't forget, I'll still have more weight going onto this, so it might sink a little bit. It might be I'm hoping no more than a 1/16 inch taper, which is definitely acceptable. Okay, now I'm gonna mount the bed ladder, or the ladder bed chat. Well, I don't even know exactly what this term is, but these two will be mounted together. Okay, hold on, guys. Okay, hey guys. Crazy glued the ladder subframe to the bed. I'll let it dry for a little bit longer. I'm starting to label all my electronics, as you can see, so they go back together without a problem. But I did, and then after that I was gonna rip them apart and then start loading them through this hole. Then I noticed, where's the ESC? The ESC have the motor wires. Then the motor wires, and they come around and they're soldered right into the motor. So usually, in most cases, there's a breakaway point right here. You just unplug them, and that's not the case here. It's a straight wire from motor to ESC. So there's two things I could do. I could make it a breakaway, or I have a soldering gun down in the basement, and I could just, remove the solder here and keep the straight shot with the wires, put it into the cab, and then rewire it here. And I started thinking, that's probably the route I'll go. But I have a lot of these extensions. They supplied a lot of extensions with this vehicle because of the length of it. But that might be a good thing because, I was going to take them off and I was going to have a bunch of extra extensions, which is cool. But I was thinking, when I put this on and then I tilt it, I will need those extra extensions. But how is that going to work? Okay, we might have another potential issue here, because the wires will be in there, and I want to keep them tight here, obviously, and keep the loose wires in the cab. But once I lift it, it's going to put strain on the wires going through the hole. Then, even if I was able to lift it up and have the wires here, when I tilt it back down, the wires will all bunch up outside the cab. I hope that made sense. Okay. Another issue. Got to think about how we're going to do this. Maybe, I don't know, I'll think about it. Okay, hold on, guys. Hey, guys. Glue's dried. I moved the electronics, so this is how it's going to be. I don't think I'm having the battery back there either. I'll probably remove those. But this should hopefully just drop right on. Yeah. Voila. Perfect. Anyway, guys. Okay. So, just to give you an idea of what this is going to look like. So, I got to get the pins in there. But these grooves should be enough for air. Especially this little area that's been cut out already. And, yeah, you can see the 3/8 diameter hole right there. Now, I was thinking, I'm like, oh no, I'm going to have a hard time when this tilts because the wires will all be in the cab, and when I start pulling this up, it's going to put tension on this hole with the wires coming out. Well, not on the hole, but on the wires when this is being lifted up. I wish I thought of that. But I think it's important that the electronics are in here. And then I started thinking, well, if the electronics are in there, when will I really ever need to open this up? Except for, say, if the motor blows, or, if something in the electronics went up front, then there'd be an issue. But if that was the case, then, I just snip the wire ties and just, when I open it, it'll slide right through that 3/8 diameter hole. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be an issue. I think that's a simple fix. And I'd rather not try to open this and close it too much, because those hinges that they supply you are, I'm sure they're scale, don't get me wrong, but they're not strong, and they'll just rip right apart like like they have now. As you can see. So that is supposed to be, you know, obviously there's supposed to be a bar, not a bar, a little rod that fits into it because it's a hinge. And you can see the bar right there. And you see how they just pry it right off. Okay, so I'm gonna end this video here, but we got the bed on, we got the new strut towers on. You see, these things like to sink after a little bit, but it's pretty even. And that weight is gonna drop that front end down a little bit. So it should look, it should be almost parallel from the ground to the ladder rails all the way across. And the next one, I'll have these unsoldered, the motor wires, or the wires going into the motor, the positive and the negative. So then I can wire everything into the cab here. I don't know if I need a mounting plate. I mean, maybe. Because in the mounting plate, I can load everything in the mounting plate and then just put the mounting plate in here. And I could probably use, I could probably make 2 holes here and to mount the mounting plate. And then when if I ever need to take it off, I can just unscrew it and just pull the whole plate out versus trying to work in there. Because it will be double-sided tape the way it'll be mounted. Or maybe that will be fine. You know what? That's probably just fine. I was thinking, you know, when the door is off, the accessibility is really good. But just to give you an idea, you see, well, let me you see how these are done? There's holes. So the door has mating holes. So they use I don't know what diameter pin, but it's small. And they use the tiny little C-clips, which are right here. And they're a pain to take on and off. These are the little clips in there. You can see those little C-clips, or E-clips I think they're called. Yeah, when they're that small, they're easy to lose. Very easy to lose, and they're tough to put on. So that might be, well, hold on a second. So if this opens up, oh, you know what? This probably opens a full 180 degrees or more. I mean, as long as I'm, you know, I have, yeah, you know what? Hold on a second. Let me attach this door. Hey guys, so I got the lid back on, and this should, so I can easily access my my electronics. Okay, so I'm good at making something mount out of molehill. So it looks like we don't have a problem at all. So but it was fun to, you know, get worried and figure out what I was going to do to fix it. Yeah, so that's where we're at. I'm going to end the video. And I believe the next video should be the grand finale. The project will be finished. The Beast 2 will be back on the trails again. Okay, thanks guys. Bye.